This segment of CoastLife is sponsored by Art League of Ocean City.
When we talk the Art League of Ocean City, maybe you guys think stuff like the paintings behind us, the sculptures, but today we're talking a different kind of art. We're talking storytelling, writing, and to talk a little bit more about it, we have our new friend. We have Gwen Lehman, an author, and you're also a local teacher, is that right?
I am retired now, but I taught at Stephen Decatur High School for 46 years.
Wow, that's incredible. Yes. When did you start writing books?
I do a lot of making books for my grandchildren, my nieces and nephews, so I've started that a long time ago. But most of my writing was done in connection with my work at the high school. I was a theater teacher, and we started a program more than 40 years ago of doing children's theaters for the Tri-County area. And I got a little bit disappointed in play scripts that I would purchase because the standard conventions for children's theater I didn't like very much. So a friend of mine said, well, you know, you keep buying these scripts and spending money on them, why don't you just write one yourself? And that hadn't occurred to me. But I started writing the children's theater scripts based on, you know, typical fairy tales. So mainly I was just writing dialogue, I was writing scripts. And then when I retired, I became very active with the Art League of Ocean City. My husband was already working with them as a volunteer, and so I started volunteering with them. And then I also joined a writers group in Berlin that meets at the Berlin Public Library. And as a result of starting to write short stories, I decided, well, maybe I'll put some of those together in a collection. And the owner of the Greyhound bookstore in Berlin is actually a former student of mine. And I gave her the Southern Stories as a present, and she said, well, no, why don't we just put your book in the bookstore and sell your book? Then I put together a second collection, and it's all of the protagonists in that collection are women. So it's called Women I've Invented. And the cover photograph is a picture of my mother. Because in some ways you invent, especially when a parent is gone, you kind of invent things about them that may not actually have been true necessarily. You know, she could do no wrong in my book, so I thought, well, that's interesting. Maybe I'll just use her on the cover. My husband usually designs the covers for me of the books.
That's awesome.
So now I have these two collections of short stories. My husband decided that he's on the board of directors for the Art League. Why don't we actually feature storytelling? Because you don't see that much of it anymore, and there's a real art to that. My husband put together a program. We know Brian Russo, who's a singer-songwriter, really well, and he's a wonderful individual, plus he's really good with an audience. And then Stephanie Fowler is excellent at reading her work, and she writes nonfiction now. So she's going to be on the program along with myself and Brian Russo.
Yeah, Gwen, a lot going on, and you're very impressive, and I know people want to hear all about your stories and the art of storytelling. So should they sign up ahead of time this event at the Ocean City Art League? How can they get involved with that?
It's free admission, open to the public. I don't think you need to reserve a seat for it. It's just come in. There will be refreshments that will be provided for people. It runs from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening. And we will be talking also about the process we use when we write, as well as just reading stories. Stephanie's working on a second book, and she'll be reading a chapter of her new book.
Awesome. Okay, I don't think I asked you, what day is it all happening at the Art League?
It's next Tuesday, the 16th.
All right, well, we'll mark our calendars for that. Gwen, thank you so much for being here and sharing all this knowledge with us. I'm sure people are looking forward to the 16th to learn even more.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet both of you.
You too.
You're so welcoming. Thank you so much.
You are welcome back anytime, especially because you're sporting the CoastLife colors. That's right. Exactly.
I'll have to remember that.
Yes, there you go. All right, you guys, we have more coming up. Coming up next on CoastLife, we're telling you about a new festival coming to Delmarva. You don't want to miss it when we return.